استوديو إيفا جو قمبانية سيل مارك قد إلى جو مدينة ساكرامنتو كاليفورنيا بتبقى بميقورتا نورا بديوسف ليسي قد إلى معرض قمبانية سيل مارك. خزيان مغربي عادي بتبقى بميقورتا نورا بديوسف ليسي قد إلى President of CEO Cell Mark. Nora, شنو لغة خرزة doing business in America?
أبيتون باسيمة، رومينا آتن، AMB سات، قد تيتون وديو ويتون من دي هم زميتون، رابا بشنو تيتون.
نورا من جيبة جانيو من جيبة AMB سات بيان منخ رابا دانات بنته ويانا قد أخرزة doing business at sponsor باللقاتن.
خارج بعدين.
نورا خدش حقلا بعض الجانخ بعض باكراندخ
أنا نورا ليسي بابا يمي إنا سوزي من أبي مكبت يوسف بينا جو أرمي ماما إلى زملان بابا إلى دزا إنا كرمي إيوا جو قزلاشو أنا جاني فيتون جو أبادان 15 شنيفا إمتيلي أمريكا إتلي تريب ناتي عادية خينات لخد تيتون بغزايتون لخد كسل ماركي بلخان
نورا بخشان أني بقريات خين بلشان إنجلس تو دانا قد بش راحت ويا قطور بنتن
هي خارج على چون رابا خبران إيتن ساينتيفيك إينا يجي بزنس أخنا مبلوخر إنجلس هم زومخ قديدة رابا هسنا يبدويات.
What do you think you need in order to start a successful business?
Well, there is a lot of needs and factors that are involved in starting a successful business. In my personal experience, I think there is 3 fundamental factors. One is passion and determination to succeed. Second is family. Third is God and spiritual intervention. I personally felt like I had all 3. That's why I dared to start my business. I was living in Austin, Texas 20 plus years ago, a single mom, worked for a company that transferred me from California to Texas. And I was on a limited budget and modest means living in Texas. But even though I had modest means, but I supported some causes that were close to my heart. One of them was Austin Symphony. Austin Symphony did a fundraising and they were selling tickets for a tour of designer showcase mansions. And I decided to buy a ticket to support the symphony and also go see the mansion. And when I went there and I saw the tour, my life just changed. I was in love. I basically saw the house and I wanted one day to live in a dream house. So basically that was my motivation to start Cellmark, believe it or not. But at the same time, it makes it clear that I am a goal-oriented and I'm money-motivated. In my opinion, these are 2 characteristics that are needed for anybody that wants to start a business, because it's truly is very hard to turn your back on a secure job that pays every 2 weeks and start a business. So you need to have that kind of a passion and determination and goal to start a business and become successful.
Aside, how did your parents influence you or motivated you to do the business?
I was just very fortunate. I was lucky to have parents, and I was raised by parents that basically allowed me to be who I am, encouraged me to just strive beyond my means. be whoever I wanted to be, and encouraged me, had faith in me, and most importantly, blessed me in everything I did. I think that's very important for parents to bless their children, and I was blessed by my parents, and they basically created the confidence I needed to start my own business and stay in business.
Did anyone try to discourage you? I've seen that a lot.
I know, I hear that a lot. I hear that story from a lot of people that want to start a business. I think I was just very fortunate. My story is the opposite. Actually, not only, for example, my parents gave me the confidence I needed, but I married my former husband, Joe Agassi. When I married him, I was a 19-year-old, and he was 11 years my senior, a successful businessman who encouraged me to consider starting my business one day. At that time, I was a biologist, dreamed of doing research in the laboratories one day, and Joe encouraged me to start my business one day because he thought that if I am looking for financial success to the level that I was looking for, it is only possible if I had my own business. Also, I was fortunate to have other people in my life. For example, my aunt, she's known in Assyrians as Rabbi Flora. She came and stayed with me for 6 months in Austin when I was living there. At that time, Cellmark was a startup company, and I was working day in and day out just to keep the business doors open and struggling, as every startup owner does, to keep the business. And she came and observed that and communicated to me that maybe it is good for me to take a break and start reflecting on what I am doing. She basically helped me realize how important Cellmark is, and from humanitarian and scientific aspect, not just business, and helped me take pride in Cellmark, assert myself, stand up for Cellmark when I need to. So while she was with me, I grew a lot. I grew intellectually, I grew spiritually, and as a business person, I grew to the next level. So she was a blessing. One more person I want to mention that is worth mentioning is my husband, actually, Dr. Lacy. Dr. Lacy joined Cellmark in 1999. And with him, he brought warmth, compassion, and fairness toward employees in a business environment, a startup business environment that Cellmark was in that was pretty cold. Everybody was trying to keep the business growing and, surviving. And he came with the idea that employees are very valuable, and we need to pay attention to employees' welfare, their morale, treat them fair, and give them a secure job so they can turn around and stay with the company as loyal contributors through ups and downs of any company, including Cellmark, that goes through.
Now, what would be your recommendation for someone who doesn't have that backup? They don't have Flora, they don't have the ex-husband and the current husband to support them, your parents.
Yes.
What would be someone who comes from a broken family, but has a dream and wants to start their own business, and they want to be successful? Yes. Now, what would be your suggestion?
My strong suggestion will be two things. One is to have a mentor, to pick a mentor, read a lot of books, and most important factor in success is rely on God. God tells you through your intuition what to do if you only listen.
As far as financially, did you have to invest lots of money ahead of time to start the business, or you basically started from scratch and then you build it?
No. It's interesting because, as I said, I was a single mom. Yeah. I started Selmark with $5,000. And I charged a lot on my credit card initially to a point that I needed to go to the bank and borrow money to basically operate. And they asked me to write a business plan. And I wrote it the way I saw necessary. And when I took it to the bank, they rejected it. They thought it was too optimistic, they call it, because I was optimistic. They were looking for exit strategies. My business and me, we didn't have exit strategy. I was in this business to stay and succeed. And I was very fortunate that my customers start buying products, and money was no object from there on.
You were working in the industry, so you had some clientele that you did business with in the past, and then you brought them on board. And how did that work?
Yeah, of course, some clients did come on board, and I had a very good relationship with them, but most clients did not, because in biotechnology, in medical industry, what really counts is longevity, experience, and being published. My company was brand new, my product was brand new, it was not published in any medical journal. So most people did not join initially, but the business was small enough that with a little bit of support from those clients that were willing to take the chance on me, was able to start and then eventually grow.
How did you come up with your product?
I formulated some of them.
Yourself?
Yes. Initially, I was doing everything, including working in the lab. Of course, I had a consultant pathologist that quality controlled everything I did. You know, having a biology background helps. So basically, I did start. I also invented I have couple invention and patents in my name. So it was a time that I was very alive. I was working very hard, but everything was very colorful. So it is very much fun to look back at those days.
Did you have to have a lab to start with?
Yes, I did have a lab, a very small lab. I actually started in a client lab like very few first weeks. But then the business started generating a little bit of income, so I basically got myself a small, tiny little labs and worked out of there. And then one step at a time, Selmark grew to where it is right now.
You were doing the marketing, you were creating the product.
Yes.
You were doing the accounting.
I was shipping the products, I was answering the phone, I was taking orders. So that actually has been very helpful, because now that the company has grown, everything I did now is a department of its own. So I'm very familiar what it takes to serve the customers the way I see fit.
Now, did you have to have insurances?
I didn't. Yeah, we basically started as a startup, but along the way, when we were able to afford, we start bringing more things to the table and set up the company appropriately.
How many employees you grew from yourself and then to several other employees? Like what were the steps?
It started one employee at a time. Because when you don't have strong funding behind you to bring the right talents, it is one person at a time. Selmark employs 80 professionals here at the headquarters, and we also work with 79 sales distributors that market the product globally. So we have grown to that level. FDA considers us a medical device manufacturer in compliance with current manufacturing practice, producing